Oh my God, Fanita. Oh my God, Fanita.
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm Willie Bragg. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible because very shortly I have to be on the road. I'm going to head on to on the way to. I'm going to go to DC by this evening so I can get a good night's sleep for the rally tomorrow for Hands Off Assange. Tomorrow afternoon at 12 o'clock, from 12 to 3. At the U.S. Department of Justice. And I'm going to head on there and so I can get a good night's sleep. And I probably will take a little excursion trip on the way. I'll probably head on to, I live in North Carolina. I live just outside of Raleigh. I may take a little side excursion trip to Colonial Williamsburg today, just because I'm on vacation. I'm just going to try to make it a pleasurable trip too. On top of that, so anyway, be sure to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to my channel on the various platforms, which is YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And I just want to get that out of the way before I get started on everything I'm going to get started on. So let's go and get started on the event. And let me get everything set up here. And we can start talking about what needs to be talked about. So as I said, as you know, and as I said, let me get everything set up. Sorry about that. Here we go. As I said, tomorrow will be the event, and that's Actions for Assange, Hands Off Assange, basically from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. October the 8th at the U.S. Department of Justice. At the address is 9. Is it 9? Let's see what it says over here. think it's like 9:50. Let me check. I can check it over here a little bit better, clearer. Hold on. That's 9:50, Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest in Washington, D.C. We repeat, the U.S. Department of Justice, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. I will try to put that on the description box below when I'm done with this video. So not to worry about that. And I hope to see, I hope to see everybody there. And we're going to have a series of speakers. I have a list here of all the people. This is not exactly the updated list, but I will mention the updated people that will be there as well. So the list includes, right now, to my knowledge, it includes Ben Cohen, Chip Gibbons, Chris Hedges, Dan Cohen, Dave DeCamp, Eliza Ballou, Esther Ibrahim, Garland Nixon, James Bouvard, Jill Stein, Joe Lauria, John Curico, sorry if I can't pronounce the name correctly, John Stevevich, Kevin Gustola, Marsha Coleman, Abdebio, and I'm sorry, some of these names are kind of hard to pronounce. Reverend Annie Chambers, Randy Chadico, Sabrina Savalti, we know her as Sabby Sabs, Stephen Dog Zinger. I know Scott Ritter is one of the other speakers. Matthew Ho of the Green Party will also be speaking, and there's one other person speaking right now, and I can't think of who it'll be. And if there's anybody else speaking, I can't think of it. And I think one of the people that I mentioned might not be there, but I'm just giving y'all, this is probably the most accurate list I have spewed out so far. So suffice to say. So if the speaker you want to hear isn't there tomorrow, please don't be mad at me. I just want to let y'all know from the get-go right there. So basically, I basically encourage each and every one of you to make it to this event. It's very important. It's very important in terms of human right abuse. Journalism should not be criminalized. You should not go and serve theoretically 175 years in prison like John Bolton wants him to serve. John Bolton, who's walking around as a free man, he's the one should be behind bars. But John Bolton wants Julian Assange in prison. And John Bolton walks around as a free man. The man walks around with a mustache shaped like a mushroom cloud. The one that wants to go and do regime change is insanity against Russia right now. Whatever you may think of Vladimir Putin, whatever you may think of the Russian-Ukraine conflict, it is anything that John Bolton is going to basically propose foreign policy-wise. I caution people, if they hear it, do the exact opposite. Advocate the exact opposite, because if it's up to John Bolton, humanity will be exterminated, because there's not a war and there's not a military conflict that he would not be against. I mean, he is in favor of every war you can imagine, except for the one war that we all should favor, and that's the class war. But anyway, that's kind of another subject from the usual. That's usually what I focus on. But today, it's kind of less partisan, because it's not just a left-right issue. This is a little more broad. It's for those who are principled on the issue of the First Amendment, on free speech, on freedom of the press, and that's what we're focusing on. And the people from the establishment from both parties, the Bush-Cheney era neocons. And some people are kind of angry when I bring up the term, this term, but I have to. And but the established corporate Democrat types, the what I refer to as the shit libs, and when I refer to them as that, is we're talking about people who are not willing to do what needs to be done as terms of progressive policy, other than at best lip service, and at worst actually embracing a soft form of the Reagan revolution with slightly woke characteristics. So and I oppose these people as much as I oppose the Bush Cheney neocons. And it does not make me a quote unquote secret Trump apologist. I oppose Trump and I oppose MAGA for what it's worth. I oppose all that is authoritarian and against the workers. I want what is best for all people. That's what I want. And that's where I stand, and that's one of the many hills that I die on. So when those who are getting offended when I say the word shit lib, I'm not going to say get over it, because I mean I think that some people who are upset, they're well-meaning and all of that, and there is a reason I say it, and just I'm going to say just understand it, and I'm not going to try to be long-winded about this, but anyhow. My point is that the previous term that I just over-explained about, and the neocons are kind of united in their opposition toward Julian Assange. And, and it just reminded me 3 years ago of this video that I ran across, and which I think that I am going to go and hold on, if I can find it, I'll go ahead and let me go ahead and try to find it here. All right, give me a second, and we'll play it real quick. He talks mighty fast, but we're going to go and put him on slightly faster speed anyway. And it is everybody's favorite obnoxious neocon dipshit, and referring to and that is little Ben Shapiro. What he has to say about Julian Assange, which is all the more reason why we need to support Julian Assange. Again, if John Bolton advocates something, do the opposite. And let's talk about the younger version of John Bolton in media, and that is Ben Shapiro. And let's see what this moron has to say, and I'll go and comment. Here we go. As soon as he starts talking. Hold on. Got a little buffer here.
It's amazing how everybody's position on WikiLeaks absolutely reversed over the past 6 years, 7 years, 9 years. Originally, it was the right looking at WikiLeaks as an evil Russian front organization dedicated to spilling American military secrets and putting American lives in danger.
And yeah, and then now a lot of the people who were the toast of Rush Limbaugh 15 years ago are now buddy with the Hillary Clinton corporate Democrats. I'm surprised you haven't joined them yet, little Ben.
That assessment, I think, was correct. And then after WikiLeaks started dumping out DNC material, started dumping out John Podesta email, then you heard people on the right, some people, we won't name names, suggesting that WikiLeaks was suddenly good.
Well, it was good when they did that. It was good when WikiLeaks was making life horrible for Bush and Cheney. It was good when WikiLeaks was making life horrible for Hillary Clinton and the DNC. And they made life horrible for the Trump administration too, by the way. And it was also good.
WikiLeaks was suddenly people who are worth listening to. They have valuable information to provide. Well, a couple things can be true at once. One, some of the information that you provide in document dumps is probably valuable information. Two, you can also be a tool of the Russians and one of the world's worst humans, and that apparently is Julian Assange.
He is not one of the worst humans. So some of the worst humans are walking around free, and they go with names like Kissinger. They go around with names. Well, I do feel a little sorry for Kissinger these days, because the Ukrainian government wants to put him on a murder list along with Roger Waters, and along with, I found out that Chris Hedges. I think that Chris Hedges is on the murder list of the Ukraine too. They want to go and apparently the Ukraine or at least an independent website associated with the right wing within the Ukraine wants to go murder opponents abroad. So anyway, and Ben Shapiro, I'm sure I know where you stand on Russia and Ukraine conflict right now, and you really shouldn't be taking the position that you should be taking, really. But anyway, let's go.
The arrest came 24 hours after WikiLeaks accused Ecuador of an extensive spying operation, adding that it assumed intel had been handed over to the administration of Donald Trump. So Ecuador, Assange basically bit the hand that fed him, and Ecuador was like, well, guess what? You have diplomatic immunity because you're in our embassy? Well, here's what we can do. They just removed his diplomatic immunity. President Moreno accused Assange of violating the terms of his asylum by interfering in internal affairs of other states, as well as blocking security cameras and mistreating guards. The actual indictment that came down from the DOJ alleges that in March of 2010, Assange engaged in a conspiracy with Chelsea Manning, a former intelligence analyst in the U.S. Army, to assist Manning in cracking a password stored on U.S. Department of Defense computers connected to the secret Internet Protocol Network, a U.S. government network used for classified documents and communications. Apparently, Manning, who had access to the computers in connection with her duties as an intelligence analyst, Manning was a man at the time. They should really say his duties as an intelligence analyst, since we're speaking historically. And
well, at the time, Manning was a biological male. Now Manning is a female. So fuck you with your transphobia, Ben.
And if we're speaking biologically, is still a man, then I guess Manning was using the computers to download classified records to transmit to WikiLeaks. Cracking the password would have allowed Manning to log onto the computers under a username that did not belong to her, says the DOJ. Such a deceptive measure would have made it more difficult for investigators to determine the source of the illegal disclosures. That is not a journalistic tactic. That is a hacking tactic. A journalistic tactic is somebody comes to you with material and then you print it. A hacking tactic is somebody says, if you help me hack the U.S. Department of Defense, then you can have the resulting material.
Yes, Ben, but this hacking tactic was to try to stop war crimes from taking place, because there was a whole lot of war criminality going on back then, still going on today. But I haven't heard of you at that time around, when that was going on. I've heard of you, I guess around 2016, 2017, something like that. I guess it was 2016 I started hearing about you, and I started reading up on you in the past, and gosh, you are so stuck in the year 2002, even now, and you just remain wedged in the year 2002, defending. You still defend the Bush-Cheney doctrine today. You're one of the worst people around, because you were an ever-Trumper in 2016 because you thought that Trump was too liberal, and then you became enthusiastically for Trump in the year 2020. People like yourself are one of the worst people around. It's kind of like what Kyle Kalinske said in 2020 about you, when you decided to support Trump in 2020, that everything that is to be hated about Donald Trump, you absolutely adore, and everything that you hate about Donald Trump are kind of not all that important or benign. So that's how you operate. That is how you operate, and you're still stuck in the year 2002.
That's a crime. During the conspiracy, Manning and Assange engaged in real-time discussions regarding Manning's transmission of classified records to Assange. The discussions also reflect Assange actively encouraging Manning to provide more information. During an exchange, Manning told Assange that, quote, "After this upload, that's all I really have left," to which Assange replied, "Curious eyes that never run dry in my experience." Assange is now being charged with conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. He's presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, says the DOJ. If convicted, he faces a max of 5 years in prison. But Assange, in fact, was doing tremendous damage to innocent people by releasing all of these documents.
What about the damage that was done by your dear leader during the most dark times in recent history in the United States? Your dear leader, George W. Bush, and his co-dear leader, Dick Cheney. What about the damage that was done with 1 million people dying in Iraq, which you were for? Or the 241,000 people that died in the 20 years of occupation in Afghanistan, which you were for, or the crackdown on civil liberties, basically the domestic spying against all Americans with the Patriot Act, which you were for, or let's see what else, or with the torture that was going on against detainees down in Guantanamo Bay, those Arabs that were being tortured in Guantanamo Bay, which you were for. All those things you were for, you're a terrible person, Ben.
He was allowing persecution of people who were coordinating with the United States government to fight the Taliban in Afghanistan. That's some pretty bad stuff.
Your position is pretty bad, and I can't believe that there are. It's one thing that when there are conservatives that follow a libertarian path, and there are people who are libertarian, put on the libertarian cloak, and will follow that path. But I can't believe that there are people that still listens to the crap that you spew out today.
That's some pretty bad stuff. I mean, even The Nation came out against him in 2016, talking.
The Nation is not all that great anymore. I stopped listening. I stopped reading The Nation many years ago. It's just a regular mainstream lib rag.
About how he was undermining dissenters in foreign countries. It's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible stuff. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have engaged in really, really bad activity. So it is a good thing for the world that Assange was arrested today.
No, it's not a good thing that Assange was arrested. It's never a good thing when you arrest a journalist. It's never a good thing when you silence a journalist or criminalize journalism. It's never a good thing, and if you were silenced and you were arrested and you were being detained, as much as I despise you, Ben Shapiro, and I do, I would be opposed to them doing that to you. But that's what makes me better than you. That's what makes me better than you, because I would actually fight for your release too, in spite of how poisonous and toxic your ideology is.
It's a good thing. Boston University, there's a fellow named Paul Hare who teaches over at Boston University. He's Britain's former ambassador to Cuba. He says, when Edward Snowden thinks you have a big mouth, you may have a problem. Former NSA whistleblower Snowden has criticized WikiLeaks for failing to redact sensitive information, even in the hacked DNC emails, allowing credit card and social security numbers of party donors and guests to tumble into public view. And this has been going on for years.
Yeah, but you don't support you don't support Ed Snowden either. And I'm not going to say that I am I'm not going to say that I support Russia per se, but I'm going to tell you one thing: I don't particularly have any love for the Ukrainian government. But you know what? When they declare citizenship for Ed Snowden and his family based, even governments that may do some occasional bad things are capable of doing some things positive, and I would say that would be a positive.
So, all the people who are out there today defending Julian Assange, who acted as essentially a front for the Russian government, again, if you were wildly inconsistent on this issue, I think that you have some looking in the mirror to be done. It's amazing how everybody's.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of him. So, that's Ben Shapiro in a nutshell. I mean, he just basically he's still living in the Bush Cheney years, and he wants to bring that back, and I want to get away from that as much as possible. But anyway, as I said, we need to show our solidarity, and again, this is not a partisan thing. There are going to be libertarians out there. There are going to be paleo conservatives out there. And I guess you might even find the odd otherwise establishment Democrat or the otherwise establishment Republican that may be an outlier on that one issue and may have a conscience. And on that, we will agree on that issue when it comes to Julian Assange, because he needs to be freed, and all. You don't need to criminalize journalism. You do not need to criminalize people who are truth tellers and the whistleblowers. You do not. So anyway, I'm going to quickly sign off and do what I need to do before I head on the road. But I just thought I'd go and talk to y'all real quick about this, and to tell you once again that if you like what you heard, please press like, and please press like and comment, and we'll have, and if you disagree with what I have to say, I'm a little tired, sorry. If you disagree with what I have to say, we'll comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, which is what it's all about. Feel free to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. We're all truth tellers in our own way. I try to be a truth teller myself. This is why I do what I do. And to let you know, to always reject corporate media and all that. And oh, yes, and be sure to subscribe to this channel here on YouTube, on Twitch, on and Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time, all that good stuff. And remember to always reject corporate media. And remember, as I said a few months ago in my little convoluted way, and I'll say it again in a very simplistic way, we're not freed until Julian Assange is free, because we're all Julian Assange at this point. So, okay, I will conclude by saying to y'all, music, y'all have a great day. Have a great weekend. Hope to see y'all there tomorrow. Bye.